So the Antigravity A1 is super intuitive and easy to fly, but making sure you get the best possible looking footage from it takes a little bit more thought. I've been flying mine for a few months now, so here's everything that I wish I knew at the very start. I'm going to talk about a few of the things you should know before you take off for the very first time. Then I'm going to go through a few tips and tricks for when you're actually flying the drone. And then maybe most importantly, I'll go through some of the settings you should use when you're editing and exporting the footage. Okay, so first of all, before you take off for the very first time, it might sound obvious, but just make sure your firmware is up to date. Antigravity does release firmware updates from time to time. So in order to do this, just connect your drone to your phone app. If there's a new update, it will likely just prompt you, but otherwise you can just check for any firmware updates. Next, just make sure you pay attention to which SD card you're getting for the drone. It shoots in 8K in relatively high bitrate, so you need something that's fast enough to record that kind of footage. If you buy it from the Antigravity website, you'll have no problem, but otherwise just make sure you look for the little V30 on the SD card you buy. It's just worth noting that if you get a card that's too slow, it will struggle to record the footage. Next, a few of the settings that I set up before I take off. First of all is the resolution and the frame rate. So I have it set to 8K 30 frames per second. Now you can set it to 24 frames per second, but because the drone doesn't support ND filters, 24 frames can look a little bit choppy in bright light, whereas 30 frames gives you a little bit more of a smooth look. Next, a setting that I think is really important is setting your bit rate to high. There's standard and high. Using the high setting will take up more storage, but it means you'll get higher quality output in the end. Okay, now let's talk about when you're actually flying the drone. In terms of modes for flying, there's three. So you've got sport, standard, and cine. Now, personally, I really like fast moving shots. I just think they look really dynamic and exciting. But the downside to keep in mind is that this will turn off obstacle avoidance. So if you want obstacle avoidance on, just make sure you've got it either in standard or cine. If you're just getting started, I'd probably recommend using the standard mode because you still get faster, more dynamic shots, but you've still got that obstacle avoidance. And then of course, if you really want really slow, specific shots, then cine mode will slow the drone right down. In terms of actual shot types, there's kind of four main shot types that I've used so far that I think you can mix together and get some really great results. And think of this as just kind of how you're flying the drone. So the first thing is just a straightforward pass. So just flying in one line, straightforward through the area that you're wanting to film. This is the easiest possible shot you can get, but in some ways it's actually the most versatile because of the 360 field of view. You can reframe it however you want in post, so you've got lots of flexibility. So if you're in doubt, just fly it straight through the area you want to record and you can do all the reframing in post. The next shot type to add to your library is just a vertical ascent. This is really easy on the motion controller. You just push the little slider up and the drone will just start ascending. And once again, you can reframe this however you like and you can get some really interesting shots. The next shot type is orbital or circle shots. These are great for rotating around individual objects. It can be quite difficult to do this manually. So there's an inbuilt mode within the Antigravity A1 that lets you select your subject and it will just automatically fly in a circle around it. And then last but not least, probably my personal favorite is just a flyby of a specific object. So it's very similar to just a straight pass, but this is with a specific subject in mind. So a great example is a building. So if you want to get a really cool tracking shot of a building, just fly past it. Once again, you can do all the reframing in post. Last but not least, I haven't used this a lot, but you can also track objects that are moving using the deep track. So that's definitely worth giving a go. Just remember, take it easy. Don't put too much pressure on yourself to get fancy moves in the air, because even with a basic straightforward flyby, you can get some really awesome looking shots just by using the reframing in post. And speaking of which, let's talk about that next. And to do that, let's jump onto my Mac and I'll actually show you in the Antigravity Studio what I mean. Okay, here we are in the Antigravity Studio desktop app. Now there is a mobile app as well, which you can use to edit your footage. I just personally prefer using the desktop app because I find it gives me a bit more control. I can see more of what I'm doing at once. So that's what I'm going to go through today. Now, first of all, you can see my footage looks pretty smooth and yours should as well. Just double check up in this top right hand corner that stabilization is turned on, because if it's turned off, your footage is going to look pretty wild like this, as you can see. That's not how it's meant to look. So just make sure the flow state stabilization is turned on and you'll have super smooth footage like this. Now from here, it's actually really easy to reframe your footage. And the core skill to do that is really with keyframes. Think of keyframes kind of just like snapshots of where your footage is at a given point, and then it will automatically transition between those 2 points. So to explain, let's just say I want to focus my entire shot on this tractor in the center of frame. So I'm going to just drag the footage around until my tractor is in the center. And then I just hit this little add keyframe button right here. Now I'm going to play through the footage, and as you can see, as I fly past the tractor, it's going to go out of view. At this point here where I'm close to the tractor, I'm just going to move the field of view so that the tractor is back in the center of my frame, and I'm going to add another keyframe. Now I'm going to keep playing, and again it's going to go out of my frame, so I'm just going to wait a little bit to about here, and then I'm going to move the tractor again to the center, add another keyframe, and then what is going to happen when I play this back is that it's automatically going to transition between those 3 points, keeping the tractor in the center of my frame the entire time. And that's how you get those nice smooth tracking shots. Now there's actually an even easier way to do this, and that is with the tracking. So rather than having to manually add keyframes to keep the tractor in the center of the shot, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this deep track button right here. So click on that, and then all you have to do is just drag a little box over the tractor and then hit start tracking. Now in real time, you'll see it will just automatically keep the tractor in the center of the frame. And this honestly does an amazing job. Once you get to the end of where you want the footage to stop, just hit stop tracking. Now if we play that back, as you can see, it keeps the tractor in the frame super easily. And arguably a much better job than my manual keyframing. That is the essence of reframing in the Antigravity Studio. Now there's two other things I want to go through. Number one is your field of view discipline. And what I mean by that is you can actually change the field of view. So if I click on this tracking segment that I've created, you can see there's these 5 different presets here. And if I hit each different one, it's going to give me a slightly different field of view for each. And you can see down the bottom here, this is all the settings that it's changing to give you these different looks. And they're all going to be dramatically quite different. Now, the key thing to remember really is that one of the big issues people have with 360 footage is that they zoom in too far and then the quality really starts to drop off. So what I mean by that is if I go to linear and then if I zoom in any further like this, you can see that the quality is really just going to start to drop off and we get a lot of pixelization, looks really grainy. That's not what we want. So the key thing to remember is just don't zoom in too far because you're going to get pretty average looking footage. Keep the footage zoomed out more like this, and then once you export, that's going to look perfectly fine. The preview is a little bit grainy just because it's a preview. Once you export the final version, it'll look much clearer than this. But the key thing I found is just with this field of view control, a good rule of thumb is don't go below 100 degrees. So if I go down into like 90 or below, that's when you really start to notice the grain. Whereas if you come out further, anything above 100, your footage is going to look really crisp and really sharp. Now the trade-off is that you get more warping, and the reason for this is just that the wider you zoom, the more of the total 8K resolution that you're using, whereas the closer you zoom in, the less of that total 8K you're using. So you're going to get a lower quality final result. So that's just worth keeping in mind. Now I like the ultra wide and the mega view. I think they give you a good balance of not too much warping, but really high quality. And that brings me to the final point, which is export settings. So in order to export, I'm just going to click here and then hit I for in, and that creates an in point. And then I'm going to go to the end of my tracked section and then hit O for out. And that's going to create an end point for this clip. So it's only going to export this section of the total video. Now I'm going to go to my export settings. And this is what I found gives me the best results for not too big of a file size. So I set my bitrate to 130. If you go higher than this, you can go up to like 150. It's going to make your file size bigger. So you can see the file size estimate here for that short clip. If I make it 150, it's going to be 200 megabytes. As I've found kind of the sweet spot is around 130. Still getting really high quality footage, but the file sizes are a little bit smaller. I always make sure the resolution is 3840 by 2160, which is 4K. The frame rate is already locked. And then the encoding format, you've got these 4 different options. If you're on a Mac, I recommend exporting H.265 because that's going to give you a slightly smaller file size for the same or arguably a bit better quality. H.264 is also good. It's got broader compatibility and it might be easier to play back on your computer. But if you do go H.265, the other benefit is that you can export with Dolby Vision. This just gives you a little bit more detail in highlights and shadows. Just keep in mind that you might have to convert the footage in your editor. So for example, I use Final Cut Pro and I have to convert the Dolby Vision footage just back to standard Rec 709 footage. If none of that made sense, just use H.264. It's a lot more straightforward. Now, the other 2 options, ProRes, they're going to give you the absolute max maximum image quality, but the downside is that your file sizes get really big really fast. So you can see here, this is 860 megabytes compared to just 187. So just for the average person, this is the settings that I would recommend. From there, just hit start export. You can see it appear here in the task center. Then once it's exported, it will be ready to go. So there you go. There's a few tips and tricks that I've learned when it comes to setup, flying, and editing and exporting all your footage from the Antigravity. I hope that really helps you get some really nice looking footage. Once you get the hang of some of these basics, the footage you can get from this drone is honestly amazing. In the meantime, if you'd like to see more of these shots that I got from New Zealand when I was over there, I did an entire kind of vlog style video, which you can watch right here.